Welcome back, travelers. Look, we all know that Andrew here is the mythology god when it comes to Norse mythology. However, when it comes to video games and stuff like that, he really doesn't know much. However, today, we're actually going to go through God of War Ragnarok and give kind of how these gods are portrayed in that video game, and you'll tell me whether or not you're impressed or not.
Yeah, God of War is one of those that piqued my curiosity because of the Norse mythology references that they had throughout the game. But it's not one of those games that I particularly enjoy. I broke several controllers back in the day playing God of War 1 or 2, trying to get over this a ceiling fan that was spinning, and you're a god of war, and you're trying to jump over ceiling fans, and you're dying to ceiling fans. And I just couldn't get past the jumping, and I was like, I'm done with the series forever. And games like Prince of Persia and Assassin's Creed, they're just not my jam. So, yeah. I mean, unfortunately.
Those are 3D platformers almost at that point?
Yeah, pretty much 3D platformers. Only one that I actually would give a shout out to that I actually respect and I'll play is Uncharted. Uncharted is so good. It's like playing a movie. Yeah, I mean, I joke around. He does play games. I mean, you were playing Elden Ring the other day. Yeah, Elden Ring throughout all the Christmas holidays.
Yeah, so, I mean, he does play games, but when it comes to, popular games, I would say popular. But
Elden Ring's super niche. It's
underground played there before.
Indie. No one's ever heard of this one before.
There will be some spoilers to the God of War game. We are going to be going through, more or less only Ragnarok. Ragnarok came out, I want to say, about a year ago. The recent Valhalla expansion came out a month or two ago.
So spoilers are fair, yeah. And there'll be Edda spoilers too. So if you haven't read the Eddas in the last 1,000 years, there's going to be spoilers.
But we do want to mention, if you guys do want to support the channel, Andrew does have a Patreon. We do have a link down below. So if you guys want to, subscribe to that.
And it's the Fate of the Norns Patreon. Yeah. And basically it helps us fund all of these videos and all of our misadventures.
Yeah, and let us know afterwards if there's any other video games you'd like us to do comparisons. Well, anyway, let's start it off. We're going to give you guys a quick overview of what happens. So it is called God of War Ragnarok. So as we would say, in the end of the world for the Vikings. It started off with basically Loki, which is the main character, who's known as Atreus. And we also have the God of War, Kratos, trying to prevent Ragnarok. Ragnarok in this game is being caused by, they call it Surtur, but I'm fairly confident it's Surt.
Well, Surtur, so they just added the R at the end, which is the original spelling of Surt, right? Yeah. So Surt is the anglicized version of it. Surtur, it's like Fenrir, right? Fenris is like the anglicized version of it, and Fenrir is the original Old Norse. Yeah. So Surtur would be the Old Norse version of Surt.
So essentially this whole story is there's the fates and everything, and they're saying that Odin is supposed to die, and then Odin's trying to prevent this, and then the whole premise is that Valhalla is supposed to fall so the other 8 realms can strive.
Odin doesn't care too much about the other realms. I mean, he's really self-centered on him surviving, his family surviving, the Aesir surviving, and thriving, obviously. So it sounds like they've got him nailed in the setting, because if he's trying to avert it and he's doing his best no matter what to avert it, that seems on brand for Odin.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about a few of the gods that are being portrayed. So I'm going to name a few of them. There's Thor, Loki, Odin, Freya. We also have
Sindri and Brock?
Yeah, Sindri and Brock. I don't know if they were gods per se, but there were more dwarves.
And you mentioned Tyr too?
Tyr is in there as well. Then we also have Fenrir. We also have Angrboda. We also have Jormungandr. And then I'm sure there's other ones that I'm forgetting.
Yeah, you said there was another wolf in there.
Yes, Garm. Yes, there was a wolf. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth afterwards. And then
Skoll and Hati?
Skoll and Hati. So let's start off. In this game, Thor is not like in the Marvel one. He is redhead. He's bulky. He's got that small hammer. So I don't know. He kind of has a temper, but not really. And he also is the son of Odin, but he says that he's a half giant.
Yeah, he is. So I would say red hair, spot on. Short and stocky, spot on. Temper, spot on. Son of Odin, yes. And son of a giantess, spot on. So yeah, 5 for 5.
Cool. Pretty good. So far they got something good. Yeah, and another spoiler. So he also kills Baldur in the first one. The God of War, Kratos kills Baldur.
Okay.
So we all know that Baldur actually dies differently because he doesn't
In the
die.
myths, yeah.
In the myths. So, for those who don't know, we did a short about it. He dies with the mistletoe spear created by Loki, thrown by Hod, which is crazy because Loki is technically the reason he got killed. But yeah, Baldur was supposed to be immortal.
Yep.
And kind of cool story here. And unfortunately, Freya is the mom of Baldur, which you're gonna tell us now.
Yeah, no, that's not right. So it should be Frigga. And I think when we first went over this game, what was it, a couple of years ago? I think you said they conflated both Freya and Frigga as the same character.
Yeah.
As in Freya's married to Odin, and she's the mother of Baldur. That would be Frigga's role.
Yeah.
So there are some academics that do want to conflate the two, and I would say that is a very, very weak argument because there's so much material in the Eddas that actually disproves the two of them being the same character, much more than Loki's origins, whether he was Muspelliotun or Rhymeotun.
So yeah, now we're going to talk more about Loki. And speaking of Loki, we actually meet Angrboda. So Angrboda is,
Cool.
I guess they don't really portray her as a love interest because they're both like young kids, but they all automatically in the beginning kind of hit it off. And that's when they meet in the Ironwood, I think it was called. Ironwood or... Yarnvid. And that's where apparently she resides. It's like the land of giants there. And then in that situation, they were the only two giants left there in the situation.
That's good.
Oh, that's really good. So, pretty cool story. What's the backstory behind Angrboda?
So Angrboda is could be a Rhymeotun witch, but she's a witch in Jotunheim, which is the realm of the Rhymeotuns. And she is the mother of Hel, Jormungandr, and Fenrir, with Loki as the father. So if she's young, absolutely, yeah. You can see in today's day and age, like if she's too young, they're not going to have them have children at too young of an age. I don't know how young they are in the video game.
I think they're like 12 or 13 or something.
Okay. So it's not the medieval ages anymore. So the fact that they added Angrboda and she's from Yarnvid, I'm giving them 2 points. That's very good. But if she's not really a love interest, or they don't have kids together that are those 3 kids, then we're batting 2 for 4, I guess, at this point.
Well,
any other info?
Speaking of kids, because we've done this for a while now, we know about the kids in mythology. So Jormungandr, and as well as Fenrir. In this movie, Jormungandr is not born. It's just a giant world serpent that's around the world. It's not as big as the world like in the myths. But we also have Fenrir. Fenrir is kind of a crazy story in the situation. So in the beginning of the game, Loki has a dog, a pet dog, named Fenrir. Dies. However, Loki has the ability to put souls, or learns the ability to put souls into little marbles after meeting Angrboda. So at the near the mid of the game, they eventually find the dog or the wolf called Garm, who's shackled.
Why is he shackled?
So his ability apparently is to cut through realms so that he can leave a giant tear and then travel through realms so that people can also travel through it. That's the reason why he was too powerful.
Interesting.
But you can explain a little bit more. But eventually, the soul was transferred to a dagger, the soul of Fenrir, and what Loki did, he went and grabbed that dagger and stabbed Garm, and then Fenrir reborn himself into Garm.
Oh, with the little marble,
exactly.
I guess. Okay.
So Garm became Fenrir.
So Garm is the guardian of the underworld, which is Niflheim, the realm of the dead, right? Yeah. Hell's kingdom. And he's not really shackled. He's pretty much like the guardian to the portal from Midgard to Niflheim. So I could see him being like something to do with the realms, right? So the crossing of realms, the tearing of realms, the travel between realms. So that's really interesting, and the fact that they put in Garm in there, which is like a lesser known character, that's another point there. So like 2 points at the very least out of that, and I don't think they got anything wrong in the characterization of Garm. I mean, they took creative liberties, which are pretty interesting. So maybe 2 out of 3. It's pretty good.
What about Fenrir though?
Fenrir, well, you didn't give me much to go on. So he had a dog, a Fenrir, that was dead. Yeah. And then they took Garm's soul and put it into Fenrir?
They put Fenrir's soul into Garm.
Oh, Fenrir's soul into
Garm. So
Garm
becomes Fenrir. Let's talk about another wolf, or 2 wolves. Skoll and Hati, right? Even in this game, they are supposed to be chasing the sun and moon eternally until they catch up, and that starts the beginning of Ragnarok.
Oh, you showed me that short. That looked so cool when they actually took off after the sun and moon.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
In the game, essentially Odin took and imprisoned the two dogs or wolves because he was worried that once the prophecy of the two celestial wolves eating the sun and moon would create Ragnarok and then eventually lead to the destruction of Asgard. So he kind of kept them and just kept them in it. But eventually Loki frees them, and that's the shot you saw where he shoots an arrow.
Cool.
Yeah,
when
they're
like
chasing afterwards. So I don't know how realistic did Odin actually kind of keep that or what?
So Skoll and Hati, nowhere in the myths are they imprisoned, except for one of the books in Fate of the Norns. So now I'm just starting to think, is someone in... This is Ubisoft?
Yeah, I think it's Ubisoft. I'm not 100% sure.
That's local to us.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if someone has our books in the creative team on Ubisoft. Anyone in Ubisoft knows, let me know, because it's the only literature that I devour everything Norse mythology. And no one has imprisoned Skoll and Hati except our books in the Fate of the Norns universe. So that's really interesting and different. But yeah, so if Odin imprisons them, so I don't get how they're supposed to catch up, because the whole time is the beginning of time. Yeah. The sun and moon are captured by the Aesir gods and they're put over Asgard. And so the giants go, well, if we can't have the sun and moon, no one will. And they send Skoll and Hati after the sun and moon. And over centuries, they're getting closer and closer and closer. So if they're taken out of the firmament and thrown into some like prison, if they're released from the prison, they're going to take, again, centuries to recatch up to the sun
Which
and
is
moon.
what Odin wants, because
he
doesn't want the end of the world. Doesn't want Ragnarok to happen, right?
Yeah. So again, kudos, like immediate point for using Skoll and Hati, because those are very like lesser known wolves out of the mythology. Because a lot of times when people come by our booth and start talking to me about mythology, they're like, oh yeah, Fenrir devoured the sun and moon. And I have to give that correction of two lesser known wolves. A point for that, a point for them chasing the sun and moon.
In the game, Ragnar is a person. Surt, also known as Ragnarok.
Okay.
So yeah, Surt and Mara are in there. The whole story is that they're the one embracing, and then eventually ignites the
Wow,
flame.
She is a super obscure character. So again, she is someone that I uncovered and put into my illuminated Edda, and she does not show up in almost any sources other than my Edda and the original poetic Edda. So yeah, that's another. Wait, someone at Ubisoft is like like pilfering Fate of the Norns lore. No, it's fine. It's fine. We love it. It's all good. It's all
public knowledge now. It's all public knowledge. We have it out. We sell them out.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm super excited that Mara's in there. I'm actually gobsmacked. Out of all the characters, that is the most obscure character that they probably could have pulled out. That's impressive.
Yeah. I'm going to bring you another character that you will probably be super shocked at what he does. Nidhogg. You know Nidhogg, right?
Of course, Nidhogg.
You know what he does? He's a protector of Yggdrasil.
Say what?
Yeah, he's the protector of Yggdrasil. The Yggdrasil, which is the world tree, right? The tree.
So I guess they want to go for some, like, he's misunderstood. He's been chewing on Yggdrasil and causing Yggdrasil to slowly die, but he's the protector of Yggdrasil. He's got a long con. Long con. But, I mean, unless they reveal something in a future DLC or something like that could be interesting. But, no, that seems backwards. He is known as the world devourer. He's the destroyer of worlds, destroyer of the cosmic tree. So, the fact that they call him the protector, I'm actually almost intrigued, morbidly intrigued in terms of where the storyline would go with him.
Yeah, I'm also very curious about that.